it as like a convergent zone or an interface zone. And the qualities, the three dominant qualities, this is number 6 on our list, are love, wisdom, and power. Okay, now listen, by power, I really mean like life force, do you see? Okay, it's that kind of power. It's that essential, the power of life, the power of a big storm, the power of a baby sleeping, you see. It's all expressions of that power. And it lives within this Akashic zone, interface zone. So the question might be at this point, all right, this is really swell, Linda, and how do we do this, right? So I'm going to tell you, well, I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now, but the how-to, there really is a how-to. Because, we weren't raised to engage in these dimensions of consciousness. I don't know about you, I certainly wasn't, right? But, and maybe our grandchildren won't have to learn how to. It'll be very natural to them. For those of us in the middle, we're the bridge generation, come on. So we want to learn how to do this, learn how to do this well. You see. And chances are that if you're with me in this conversation, that you've already bumped into the records, or you have a sense I know what that is, I've felt that, I've sensed that. Of course you have. The issue now is, can I get there consciously, responsibly, and deliberately? Okay, that's the great distinction of the work that I do. Is not that you're gonna go somewhere you've never been. Listen, you've been there, you know that. But now you get to go there at will, because we are in the collective humanity. We're growing up. This is the age of spiritual maturity. We can be trusted. Each and every one of us can individually be trusted to pursue our own inner truth. Quite exciting. There are many ways to access the Akashic Record. There really are. People do it through hypnosis. People used to do it through these ancient wisdom mystery schools, through fasting and prayer and meditation. Very rigorous courses of study. Terrific, absolutely terrific. Thank God we don't have to do that anymore, especially the fasting part. The way we work is we work within the sacred prayer tradition, okay? And what that is that means that there is a prayer. There's a rhythm. It's a prayer. It has an opening. It has a closing. There are stanzas, and there's a rhythm. It's a rhythmic pattern, And in the saying of the prayer, 2 things happen. One thing that happens is that we become receptive. Okay, so when I say this prayer, the prayer that I teach is called the Pathway Prayer Process to access the heart of the records. Okay, so that's what that is. But here's what happens, the 2 things. First is that I get moved into a place where I can receive, where I'm more receptive, I'm more open. And receptivity is very important, because if you're full, if you already know everything, nothing can come in. So we want to be receptive. It's good, right? The second thing that happens is we call up, through the saying of the prayer, a very specific set of records. I call up my own records. I'm using this as a spiritual practice, you see. And so I call up my own records, and it helps me to have a more conscious relationship with my own soul. Now, I know in talking about this, we use words that make it sound like you see everything. And some people do see images. They really do. And there are some people who hear, okay? I have one student who has streaming audio. I do not have that. Would I like it? Of course I'd like it, but I don't have it. I have, and what most of us have, probably 85% of the people who work in the records have what's called a sense of knowing. And that's how you have that sense ooh, I know this, or I know something about this, okay? And what happens is that as I start to describe what it seems like, I start to put words to what it might be, or what I think it is, or what it's like, the energy starts to move, you see. Energy moves on the formed word. And so as we put words describing what we're getting or what we're not getting to the very best of our ability, things start to move and change begins to occur. And it's quite exciting. Number 7 on our list is that the records are an infinite spiritual resource, right, for personal empowerment and consciousness development as opposed to a system of divination. Okay, this is really much more about a spiritual practice for guidance and direction and really that energetic support, you see. And as opposed to like fortune telling, this is not fortune telling. If you want fortune telling, I don't know, this isn't it. Do you know what I'm saying? Just there are a lot of other things to do that I think are much better for fortune telling. So what that means, the good news for most of us is you don't have to be psychic. You do not have to be psychic. You don't have to be clairvoyant. You don't have to do any of that. Actually, don't worry about that at all. Just forget it. Okay? This is about you with your soul. All right? Now, and once you really get that, I mean, I know once I got that, what a huge relief it was. And then I could proceed with this practice, right, of being led by the light and really leading a more consciously soul-led life, which is really number 8. Like, why do we do this? Why would we work in the records? We would do this. We do this, right? We do this because the opportunity is to be in line with our very own soul, you see, and to live a life that expresses those truths about who we are. All right? And what happens in the records, when we look in the records, it's like to see myself through the lens of my soul, to see where am I in line? I mean, because sometimes, we're not all completely out of whack, but it's like, oh, wow, this area of life looks really easy. I'm very much in line with this, but this isn't looking so good. And I can explore, I can engage within this Akashic atmosphere to find out, given who I am at this moment in time in my life, in my real life, right? How can I be in harmony with my own soul? How can I live my everyday life as an expression of the essential truths of who I am? How can I do that? And that can be revealed through my own records, through your own records, how you can do that, you see. And so a lot of people say, how do you know? How do you know it's real? How do you know if you're there? Listen, you and I both know that there are moments in life when you have an awareness, each of us, that you know what, this is right. This is the truth. We all know the truth when we hear it. Sometimes we don't like it, but we know it. We're designed to be knowers of the truth. And at this point in the new age, it is time for us to know the truth more than ever before and to live in the awareness of that truth. Some people ask about, well, what about religion in the Akashic Records? Listen, there's no conflict here. There's absolutely no conflict, you see. Because religion is wonderful. And absolutely, I mean, whatever your religion is, you can absolutely be in your religion. This is about a personal practice. It's a spiritual practice. But it does not interfere. And there certainly are references to the Akashic Record in all kinds of sacred traditions, even within the Judeo-Christian tradition. Do you know, in the Old Testament, in Psalm 139, it says, I love this, "You scrutinized my every action. All were recorded in your book, my days listed and determined." And it goes on from there. The Akashic Record is referred to as the Book of Life or the Book of God's Remembrance in the Judeo-Christian tradition. And you know what? I don't know about Eastern traditions, so I don't really have anything to say about them. But there's no conflict here, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. The other thing people want to know, and this is under number 9 on our list, right? Religion in the records and science in the records. Well, what about science? Well, I have to tell you, there's the most fascinating book came out. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember the date at the moment. Just in the last couple of years, though, right? By Dr. Irvin Laszlo, all right? He wrote a wonderful book. It's called Science in the Akashic Field. And in this book, he approaches this thing known as the Akashic Record, only in science they call it the A field, right? It's a field of everything. And so what we're seeing is that scientists are identifying that there sure is something, right? Whatever it is, and they're engaged in this conversation as well. So we see that the records, all, people in all different areas of study and different disciplines are becoming aware of this dimension and are really working to identify it and to see how it's useful to us. And so finally, at number 10 on my list of things you should know about the Akashic Records is that, you know what? It's your soul. It's your soul. It's your records. More accurately, each of us is a soul, right? Having a human experience. And each and every one of us is entitled. It is our entitlement. It is our birthright. It is actually our responsibility to be more conscious of our own soul and to live lives that express those deep innermost truths that live within. And so, don't be shy about your work in the records. Each and every one of us begins somewhere. And I have to tell you, wherever you are, it's a good place to start. There's actually no other place to begin. So this is really it for today. I want to thank you for choosing to spend your time with me in this discussion of the Akashic Records. And I look forward to meeting you in person sometime. Thank you very much.